And good morning. Welcome to a Tadpoll for a Thursday morning. What happened to the snow? We had 3 to 5 inches. We were saying 3 to 5 inches and just a little bit on the windshield this morning. But we'll talk about that a little bit here in a moment. We have a busy show this morning. Looking forward to passing along a lot of information. We thank the sponsors for making it possible again for us to be here on Thursday and also on Saturday morning to do our show. Corey Miller's joined us. Anna was going to stop in, but she's somewhere helping people decide what kind of medical program they should be on, medicine. We're going to talk about Kennington Veterans Day. Fort Hays State University, the new president, will be here Monday, and they're going to have a news conference and a meet and greet at Huck Boyd. We talked to Dennis Miller about that. Sherry Buss from the Hanson Museum is coming over to talk about calligraphy class and other things going on at Hanson. Phillipsburg High School putting on their play, and they're going to be the history of dating is what it is. Leslie Struckoff will be in with some of her students. And then Phillips County Retirement Center is having a big open house on Sunday to look at what's going on there. And Gary Bills is planning on stopping by along with someone from out there to talk about what's going on. So it's a busy time, and busy time before we look at what's going on in Extension and 4-H and everything. I had to go. I went to Plainville on Tuesday, and it kind of rained a little bit, but they were out there trying to cut Milo. They were really trying to get the thing done. And your family is trying to get Milo. They're cutting late, right?
Right. Yeah. So I know last night, Dad and brother they definitely pushed as long as they could,
Sure.
and we thought that this morning we'd wake up to a white ground, and I think several of the producers are relieved that it's not here yet.
Yes.
And we've got some phenomenal crops out there.
Right, yeah.
And if these producers could, if Mother Nature, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You don't
Sure.
want to scare it away or the moisture, but I tell you, I've never seen as wet of a summer as what we've had.
Yeah,
So if we can just get these crops out of the field, that'll alleviate a lot of stress, I think, for a lot of people.
And the Milo that you go through Stockton and it's piled and Glade is piled.
Right.
Beautiful. Isn't Milo pretty piled? All the different shades and everything.
It is, and I've seen a lot of those on Facebook. It almost like the sand art.
Right,
and,
it is, right.
Oh, it's just gorgeous there.
It is.
So
Was
very
that,
neat.
why is that? Is it
So-
different kinds of
Yes, yeah.
Milo?
So different varieties, different numbers, and they have, you have your red, your bronze, your yellow, just the different
Wow.
colors. So obviously the red truck gets there, and then the other truck, and so it just
It's beautiful,
very
yeah.
very neat.
Yeah. Okay, does that hurt the Milo out there with the moisture on it? Like,
So there are some people that if we get too much moisture, we get certain things in Milo as stalk rot, and that the plant can go down.
Sure.
So then you get harvesting challenges as far as being able to pick that back up.
Right,
So
right,
the quicker a person can get it, and the soybeans, they're very very finicky to moisture.
Sure.
They where they're in the pod. That pod gets wet and dry so much, and then it just starts popping. So then you have shatter on it. So if it can just hold off and let us get things done here, a couple more
Okay.
weeks would be done.
All right, fine. Well, yeah, they were out there cutting, and it was kind of sprinkling a little bit, but they were trying to get.
Right.
You knew they were trying to get it done. And late, I talked to someone the other night, and they said that Waiter Jones had a dinner from some of his customers and stuff, and some of them didn't make it in because they were out cutting them out. Okay, let's talk about the reason why we initially wanted you on
Okay.
here. And it's nice to, well, one other thing, because is there still wheat that has to be
Okay, so
planted, or is that still?
insurance cutoff. We're past there, but. I said this last year. We planted our wheat plots a year ago for extension in Phillips and Rooks County, right on the insurance cutoff date or the last day before you take a penalty. And this year was later. So, every year, and it's funny, Romulo Lalato, our wheat specialist, I visit with him, and then Jim Schroyer, our retired wheat specialist.
Sure.
And, if we had that crystal ball of
Yeah.
of what the weather was going to be like, promote to try to drill a little earlier or not. And this is 2 years in a row, so next year it may be drier than a bone, and we don't have to worry.
You never know.
So it's just kind of.
And the government says on the insurance thing, you have to have it done by. Isn't there's no leeway on that?
So I believe October 20th, and don't quote me on this. I'm shooting from the hip, but October 20th was for full coverage, and then I want to say it was the November 4th. Don't quote me, but November 4th,
right,
and then there's no coverage.
No coverage at all after the 4th.
So
wow.
It's a penalty up to or decreased coverage, but then. And if you're an
Okay.
insurance agent out there, if I butchered that, I apologize.
Okay.
So.
All right, okay. Let's talk about first. Anna was going to be here to talk about 4-H, and you're going to be talking about that. But she is in Palco. We're on our way to Palco, and what is she involved in?
So the program today, and what she asked me to put a plug in, and I believe you were involved in this as well, Tad. But this morning she's going down. She has a couple of appointments, the Medicare Part D sign up. So each year you can come in and go through your plans and compare premiums, etc., different programs, and choose which one's right for you financially as well as the coverage. So she has a couple of appointments this morning in Palco, and then tonight she's doing a pressure cooker, electric pressure cooker demonstration class
You're a
down
proponent.
there.
You like the electric pressure cooker, don't you?
I do. My mother-in-law got one for myself as well as my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
I believe it's 2 Christmases ago, and so I kept asking Anna about these questions, and it kind of spurred her. Said we've got to do this. So and from there, she's got kept track of how many people she's had come to her classes, but how many that she's touched or helped, and very amazing for sure. So
Well, I can tell you what, every year I've gone with my Part D, and this year I went to Anna, and you can see it on the screen, and she saved me I went to a new plan. I got rid of the other one because I saved about $50 a month at least. And so if you're on a Part D and I've never had this done, and no contact Anna.
Yes. So you can call Anna, and December 7th has to be the last day that you can do it. I will tell you, she is filling up very fast if there are any openings, but you can contact the extension office, visit with Wendy, see if you can set up an appointment. She's doing it in town. Also, Harlan Nonhoff and his wife are also people that you can go to as well to get this service. But yeah, there's been a lot of people come through the doors, and she's had 8 to 9 appointments every day here. It's booked solid.
I recommend it if you haven't had it done yet. Get it done, or if you've never had it done, it's a way to save on medicine. And of course, the medical things, the medicine, the costs. It's just so. Get a plan if you're eligible. Part D, go in, and if you have a plan already, you can take it in, and then she has all the information you need right there. And you get. I had Silver Script. They sent me a book about a half-inch thick. Who can go through all that and look at that?
Right.
You go to Anna, and she hits it right in there on the computer, and it's done there. So I recommend you doing that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
They had a glitch on the program the other day, and boy, that brought the state to a standstill.
Yeah.
So the program was down, and so we had to reschedule some people and such there.
Well, that happens, doesn't it? Okay.
Right.
All right. What about 4-H? A big night coming up again.
Yep. So I enjoy this time of year. Each year it seems like the Phillips County Fair, the Rooks County Fair, that we're in the district. Those are kind of the time to shine, to showcase their projects. But here we kind of basically put this all together. And so this Sunday we're having our Phillips County Achievement Celebration or Achievement Banquet. Have that each and every year. What we do throughout the year, these 4-Hers, they go to a club meeting every month, and they keep track of activities that they do, project talks, demonstrations. They also can participate at such things like club days, regional club days, various judging activities throughout. So at the end of the year, they turn in their record book, and then there's also PIN applications, what we call those, that they can apply for. And there's a series of those as you go up from the membership all the way up to your Gold Guard, etc. And then hopefully, if you're lucky, you fulfill everything and you can get the Key Award. The Key Award is the highest award that can be bestowed in the 4-H portion there. So, so this Sunday we'll recognize all of those members.
That's great. I just love to see those kids. And some of the older ones have gotten awards, but you watch the young ones, they're they're the ones that, because they are excited about getting those awards.
Correct.
It's really great.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so neat. You call their name and they come up and then they go get their picture taken, and it's just really, really neat, especially to see those kids grow from when they were clover buds or what used to be tag-alongs, and then they get their key awards, and it's pretty cool to see them. So as a 4-H'er myself, and a lot of these 4-H'ers, they're probably thinking, why do we have to do this? I hate filling out my record book. I hate these applications. When you get to be our age, you understand why. And especially you go for college applications, scholarships. They are so important. So, listen to your parents. They do know best.
Yeah.
So.
And I know in the past we've talked about the fact that when I was growing up, 4-H was cows, and they were country kids.
Right.
But it's now what I think is great. The program anyone can be in now.
Right.
I think that's really great.
And that's, I know we always use the term. It's more than sows and plows.
Yeah, sows and plows.
So it's just, and as we get less and less rural kids, there's not as many kids living on the farm. There's more town kids, but we live in a rural area, and we're so fortunate that maybe if they do live in town, there's places in the country that they can keep animals, they can be involved in this. But, our science, there's a huge push for this science, the robotics, all of those things. And, we're very lucky. We have roughly about 130 4-H members in Phillips County. They can be in 4-H basically from 5 years old. Once they get 19, they age out. But the 5 to 7 used to be the tag-alongs. They term that cloverbud now. That's activity based. They meet once a month, do short little projects there. Then they can become into the regular 4-H'ers as they turn 7 by January 1 of the current year. They can become a regular 4-H'er and participate in all the activities.
I think one of the greatest is public speaking. I think that's very important.
It is.
It teaches them how to get up in front of someone.
Right.
I wish I'd had that when I was a kid. I used to bike fright. I used to when I was little.
Yeah,
obviously I don't have it anymore.
Correct.
But I did have it one time.
Yeah, and that's the one thing, and we get comments from teachers all the time, and you can tell the kids that are in the classroom that are in 4-H, they're not afraid. We get them up at the 4-H meetings to make motions, to give their project talks, to give their demonstrations. Some of those are involved in the judging aspect, that they get up in front of the reasons taker and give a set of reasons. And at the county fair, they're talking on the radio, they're talking on My Phillips County Online. It's a great program. 4-H and FFA, they kind of go hand in hand and develop. Our whole motto or our whole deal basically is positive youth development, and it's for the kids. And just seeing these developing the leaders of tomorrow is truly great.
Another thing, Robert's Rules of Orders. You follow that, you learn how that goes. Keeps things the way they should be.
So we just finished our. Most of these have offices, and that's president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, reporter, parliamentarian. We have all of those council reps. So it's neat. We just finished our 4-H officers training. Doug Zillinger used to be a FFA advisor for years, and all of his kids went through the 4-H program. Doug knows Parlaw, I think, forwards and backwards, upside down, etc. He comes and basically we went through. How do you make a motion? How do you run a meeting? It's neat there because you can see some of the kids kind of questioning, why is this important? Well, when you become involved in chamber, you become involved in Rotary, all these activities, Farm Bureau, you're going to have meetings, and you're going to need to know how to make proper motions and
to keep the meeting, civil and everything. Okay.
Right.
All right. So it's a great program.
It is.
And So your annual is this Sunday night?
Correct.
What time?
Yep. So our annual is this Sunday night. Those that are invited should have received an invitation in the mail there.
I got one.
Yes.
I'll be
Yep.
there.
That's right. So we usually we'll start at 5:30, and Big East Country Kitchen caters the meal for us, and we usually try to send Tad a goodie box home with
They
him as
do.
well.
I tell you,
So,
they'll come up to me and say, "Hey, on your way out, stop it through the kitchen. And I use to take a goodie
Right,
box." So I
right.
really
So-
appreciate. You don't know
so-
how much I appreciate
so we
that.
cannot forget on it
You-
here. But,
After a while, the stuff out of the microwave, it's
Uh-huh.
all right, but I rely on the microwave. Maybe I should go more of the
Pressure cooker?
pressure cooker, yeah.
Yes,
because
so-
my microwave, I've gone through several
Uh-huh.
because it's well convenient, and frozen stuff. But anyway, yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, so
5:30 and
5:30 Saturday, and here we'll
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah,
Thank
okay,
you.
yeah.
Yep. We'll recognize all of our pin application winners, our KAP or Kansas Award portfolio. Recognize those. Also, we have one Key Award this year, and that's really neat. The Key Award, we have a slideshow and kind of put a script together for them, and it's really neat to see kind of all throughout the
Right,
pictures
yeah,
through
sure,
4-H
sure.
and how they have grown and developed, and just neat to see, and then to see those kids go on and become. We're getting to the point now where there's a lot of those kids when I first started that are coming back to help out, and
Sure.
at the fair this year that was great, and it's truly a treat to see that. So that's this Sunday. But if you are interested in 4-H, our sign up begins October 1 each and every year. You can sign up throughout the year. Obviously, the earlier you sign up for 4-H, the more you're going to get out of it. But if you are interested in 4-H, we have 6 clubs within the county, and I encourage you to visit one of those and contact the extension office, and we can get you lined out.
Through the years, I've got a couple of awards they were printed in for coverage and stuff like that. It's kind of, if you're invited, be sure you're out there 5:30. The food's good. I always like sitting at the table because you talk and you renew a lot of acquaintances, about things through the years, So good job, Cody.
Oh, very good.
So we always never want to turn down moisture, but we can kind of hold off for a little
Right.
bit. And then
I tell you, if we could just get through harvest here, and each year fall harvest is usually drug out longer,
right, yeah.
and but boy, if we could just get through this,
yeah.
and like I say, if Mother Nature has been good as far as getting the rain to get the phenomenal crops, now if you can get the market straightened out, that would be nice.
I used to do harvest reports at the summertime, and people asked me, "Why don't you do the fall thing?" Well, it would have been a month-long thing there,
Right,
because it's not a wheat is usually a week,
Correct.
and then it's over, or 10 days, and fall was we never tried to do that because you'd be out there every afternoon
Forever.
and
So,
thing,
yeah,
and it's
but-
getting dark. I said, thanks a lot.
Very
Tony.
good.
We'll
Thank
see
you, Tad.
We'll see you Sunday night.
Very good.
Okay. And I'll go out through, when I leave, I'll go out through the kitchen.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay. Cody Miller with us. And again, be sure, if you're eligible for Part D and the Medicare, be sure that you contact the extension office or Harlan Inhofe, his wife, about getting that done, because the work you did for me saved me about $50 a month. So she'll do the job. All right. Do we have veterans out there? We're going to talk about Veterans Day at Kensington after this timeout.
Your and our dreams since 1884, when we first opened our doors. This is Lloyd Culbertson for First National Bank and Trust. It's a place filled with friends and neighbors who want nothing more than seeing you happy, better off. First National Bank and Trust in Phillipsburg, Logan, and Long Island, Smith County and Smith Center, Solomon Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
And back we are, the Tadpoll, for this Thursday morning. We're going to talk with Tim this morning about the Veterans Day celebration. For years, and I mean years, over 40 years, I would go over and do the Veterans Day celebration and broadcast that, and always had great guests, and it was just fun. And then, of course, after the parade and their There's, I think they have cake sales and all them, or
Pie sales and
y'all,
stuff.
right? And the raffle tickets and everything. Then they'd have the ham and beans, the best ham and beans. Karen called me the other day and wanted to be sure I was going to come over and have my ham and beans over there again.
Yes.
And that's great, sir. So, Tim, let's talk about what's happening this Saturday.
Starting off with at 9 a.m., got the pie stand at the VOAG building for the American Legion Auxiliary. Got pens for sale, poppy for sale. 11 o'clock, we're having a speaker, Major Jamie Swant.
I know him. I got to know him well. He's from Kensington originally, and
That's what they've said,
Yeah,
yes.
then I've got to know him. I look forward to seeing him. Jamie is what he's done. You know, he's a major,
Yes.
and he went to K-State. I think he already has his master's or doctor's degree. I think something from there. So he has really been a major part of what's going on, and he's going to be the guest speaker.
Yes.
Okay. All righty.
And then at 11:15, we have the parade. And then at 12 noon, we'll have the free barbecue.
Yeah.
We've got 2,300 pounds of meat and 380 pounds of beans.
Yeah. I'll take half of that. No. It's. I tell you what. If you like ham and beans, it is really good.
Yes, they are awesome.
They go there the night before, don't they? They'll start tomorrow night cooking that, won't they?
Yes,
Friday
that's what I was
night.
going to say. 5 o'clock, if we want to, anybody wants to volunteer, we need
Tomorrow
people.
evening at 5.
Well, it'll be Friday night.
Yeah, that's tomorrow evening.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, tomorrow evening.
Yeah, starting at 5 o'clock, we'll start cutting the meat up and
Wow.
prepping it to start cooking at probably 6,
Yeah,
6:30.
and you're there all night, aren't you?
Yes, we are.
And because I remember coming back from football games, I would stop in there if I was going through Kensington. I'd stop there, and there the guys would be, and they always give me a little extra food to eat there. That's kind of
Yes.
neat. And
Somebody's got to stir it all night long.
yeah, sure.
Take
And
care of everything.
Sure, the beans are the big kettles and everything.
Yep.
And, yeah, okay.
3 big crock.
Yes. So that's
Cookers.
after you. That's after the parade. Then you can. Some people soon the parade's over, get in line for the
Yes.
free barbecue. Okay, that's 12 noon, and that's part. What else is happening?
We'll be selling raffle tickets. They can be purchased from any of the Legion members, Sons of American Legion members, or the Legion Rider members. And we're got consolation prizes. We've got 2 9mm pistols we're drawing for, one Browning BPS 12-gauge shotgun. We've got a Browning A-Bolt 3 6.5 Creedmoor rifle. And you need not be present to win the guns. You must pass the FFL requirements
Sure, right.
to be able to take possession of them.
Sure.
The constellation prizes, you need to be present to get them, to win them.
Mm-hmm.
And that all starts at 9 p.m.
9
at
o'clock.
the Legion. There will be no dance, but
That was my next question. They used to have a dance,
Right.
And so just
We'll
be
just
there
have
at
the-
9 o'clock and
the
get
drawings
the
will start.
prizes. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then Sunday morning at 6 a.m., the Lions Club's having a pancake feed.
Right. Wow.
And then at 11 o'clock on the 11th, the community bell ringing. Our theme for this year is Bells of Peace. So at 11 o'clock, ring your bell 21 times.
Sure. Well,
Throughout the
it's the 100th
community.
anniversary of
Yes.
Armistice. It's the
Yes, it
11th
is.
day, the 11th month, the 11th hour. That was done
Yes.
back for the end of the First World War, and it's very it's 100 years.
Yes.
It's supposed to be the war to end all wars, but we know how that went. So
Yes.
anyway,
That pretty much. Oh, flag retirement is at 1:30 across from the Legion. There's a big open area.
okay.
They'll be done.
When is that going to happen?
1:30 on Saturday.
On Saturday, okay.
Yes.
So the free barbecue, Veterans Day celebration coming up day after tomorrow. The free barbecue, but be there for the parade and listen to Jamie because he has. I know he'll have a good message.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing Jamie. It's been a while since I've talked with him, and And now, how you say that it's Candy Day? I know they always have for Sight Foundation. And the pie stand, it'll be open at 9, right? At
Yes.
the BOAG building.
Yes.
Go back there. That's back by the football field, isn't it?
Yes.
North of the
And
football
that's
field.
where the free barbecue is just south of BOAG building.
Sure,
The
yeah.
concession stand.
Right, and that's where you can enjoy the free barbecue, and I recommend it. I've many years I would go over there after announcing the parade on the radio. Go inside, and sometimes it was cold, sometimes
Yes.
it was warm, sometimes there was rain, sometimes not. You never know what the weather looks like. This should be okay this Saturday, I think. Maybe a little on the cool
I was going
side.
to say, it's supposed to be a little chilly, but
But
as long as the sun's up,
but
that'll.
dress warmly and
Yes.
make your plans to go out. In fact, I think a year ago I got to be in the parade. I was a parade marshal, I think, a year ago on that. They had me ride in the convertible, and they go
Kind
around.
of sleeting or something, then, wasn't it?
Yeah,
If I
yeah.
remember
Well,
right.
yeah, it was.
Wasn't the greatest.
But it's November, so we can
Yes.
expect that. So it's great. I think that they've done this through the years, and particularly on Sunday with it being the 100th anniversary of Armistice. We used to call it Armistice Day when I was a kid. And we got out of school at 11 o'clock. They have an assembly, and then they let us out of school the rest of the day because of that. And then they changed it to Veterans Day, and they changed that around, But it was Armistice Day at one time. And
Yes, that's
so
what they've said.
Yeah. So anyway, well, Tim, we appreciate you coming over. Are you going to be part of the cooking tomorrow night?
Yes, I'll be taking part of that.
Okay.
And
What's the secret? There's a secret recipe, I think, of the beans. I don't know where that recipe came, but they are really good beans.
yes, they are.
But I was always told it's a secret recipe that you do.
Well, that's what they've said.
Okay, Tim. Let's go. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, and I'm glad. Last night I was worried that maybe because of the weather that the roads might be bad, but the snow decided to go north, I guess, and northwest and everything.
Didn't hurt my feelings.
Okay,
any.
fine. Thank you, Tim.
Yep, thank you.
We'll see you Saturday morning.
All right, sounds
Okay,
good.
fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the Kensington Veterans Day coming up Saturday, and I recommend you go over. They do a great job there at Kensington. Well, we have a lot of veterans programs coming up. Logan's having one. I think that's Monday. I think tomorrow is Phillipsburg. But anyway, it's just hats off to the veterans and the job that they've done through the years, obviously, to see so we can do things like we do here and talk about things and have the freedom we have here. With big election day and all that, I'm glad to see so many people. About 49% of the eligible voters voted, which is a huge number for midterm elections. Okay, we'll come back and talk with Dennis Miller about one of my favorite universities after we take this time out.
Coombs Incorporated in Phillipsburg, offering local and long-distance hauling, complete shop service, including an automatic aluminum polisher to restore and refurbish those aluminum truck rims to a mirror finish, and 24-hour towing service. Now hiring over-the-road drivers traveling 48 states. Excellent benefit and pay package. See Coombs Incorporated on Facebook. Coombs Incorporated. You call, we haul.
Hi?
We're looking for insurance.
Let's see who's free.
When insurance agents work for only one company, their options are simply limited. But a trusted choice independent agent is free to shop many companies for a better deal. Free to do what's right for you.
Let us shop for you. Contact Rogers & Associate to learn more.
Coombs Incorporated in Phillipsburg, offering local.
Tadpoll for this Thursday morning. We've talked about Part D for the Medicare people, also the 4-H banquet coming up. We've talked about Kensington Veterans Day that's headed your way this weekend, the Saturday and Sunday morning with things going on. Dennis Miller has joined us this morning to talk about Fort Hays State University and something special coming up this Monday. What's happening here in Phillipsburg Monday, Dennis?
Well, President Tisa Mason is going to be flying up with Deborah Prideaux and another individual. They do this every fall, do a week tour of Kansas and stop at probably 15 to 20 different locations throughout the state and visit with the press and the alumni and etc. I don't know. I haven't seen their schedule, but they normally take a full week to do it. The last time they were here was it was the last year that Dr. Hammond was president of Fort Hays, and then, but they do take last I knew, they still take a full week doing this every fall, and they go from all over western Kansas. They'll be hitting Wichita. They'll be hitting Kansas City hard before it's over with, and they do fly from location to location. So it's they're on a tight time schedule.
You know, I used to catch Dr. Hammond out on the apron out there at the airport and get an interview with him, when he'd come in here, which is great. Of course, new president who seems to be doing very well, and she has articles in the Hayes paper all the time. I think she is really becoming involved with the community.
Yeah. Well, she was there for, I think, 6 or 8 years before Dr. Hammond retired, and then she took a position, was president of a North Dakota school smaller than Fort Hays. And from all that I've heard, she did extremely well up there, and they were just sick to see her leave because she had really cranked things up for them when she was reappointed to and came down here as president. And Fort Hays is continuing the growth pattern they've been on. They've got now, I think it's 15,400 students. By one definition, we're the third largest university in Kansas, and another definition, which is full-time equivalency, we're actually still behind WSU, but every year we keep shrinking that number up.
It's great. Of course, I'm a graduate way back when, and I'm looking forward now. Monday morning, it's a press conference, but alumni can show up, and anyone interested. Is there going to be? I assume there's going to be a period where she'll be talking to them, and then maybe there's a period set aside for the press. I don't know how.
Yeah, it'll be it's a combination of, I'm sure, making a presentation. Press conference is what they're calling it. So all the press here in Phillips County will be invited, and hopefully will show up. But it's also for the public. The alumni, they'll be allowed, I'm sure, to visit with Tisa and ask questions also. And so I think it starts at 11 o'clock at the Huck Boyd Building on Monday the 12th, and it's going to be both for the community and the press.
And we'll be there with live coverage of that, and it'll be on afterwards so they can watch it. And I'm looking forward. Big time press conference, just like you do with the president, right? We'll have all the media out here, and the president will be there, right? And,
well, I wouldn't say it's going to be. If you're going to play Mr. Costa, you may have problems.
Okay, well, yeah, I want to talk about Fort Hays a little bit because I was down there. I took a person to on Tuesday. Took him to see the doctor for dialysis. I had about 4 hours. And I always took about an hour. I'd go down to the park and watch the squirrels. And then I'd take about a half an hour, 45 minutes, and drive through the campus, get lost, because it amazes me what the campus has evolved in at Fort Hays. It's an amazing, and not just because it's close and because we graduated from there, it's an amazing university to have out here in the western part of the state.
If some of the alums that live here or away and come back after 5 years or more, it's like you say, it's almost like getting lost. The Hammond Hall's been put up since then. Wiest Hall's been torn down. A new Wiest Hall, now they call it Victory Apartments, I believe. And then the Hanson Foundation installed an entrepreneurial building for students that are interested in entrepreneurial, and it's a dorm for entrepreneurial students. And that was very interesting because they had made a initial policy that the only sophomores and up would be in it because freshmen aren't settled in yet.
A lot of them, yeah. Right.
And when they start getting applications, they had at least 2 or 3 freshmen that coming in that had already done 3 to 5 entrepreneurial projects already. They couldn't turn them down because
Sure.
I mean they were what they were really looking for.
Right, yeah.
So they did allow those students that had already done some projects, entrepreneurial projects. They did put them in there, but it has housing for about 33, 35 students that are interested in entrepreneurship, and it's a business. It's all almost all the colleges have one or two kids in it. That obviously the life sciences, the science area does, but and some of the artsy people do because they do some fantastic artwork down there with the new bronze
Sure.
and the new building northwest of the Union. I think they put up 5 buildings in the last 5 years or so.
And I didn't realize that those buildings had been put up and the housing. Like there used to be West and there was a couple of residence halls. They call them residence halls, north and south or something, and by the football field.
Yeah.
And but it's all changed down there now. And
Yeah,
on that.
They've got 2 new buildings for the both for sororities and fraternities, and also for a little extra overflow housing in where there used to be the parking lot for the football stadium.
Right.
And then they've got like say Henson Hall, Victory Hall. The Agnew Hall was torn down. They put in new design. It's a 4 where there's 4 people to a unit. And then they have 2 bathrooms and a central kitchen and living room area. Then they have, like I say, Hammond Hall, this new arts, or it's where the they mechanical
Yeah.
where they teach the how do you put it? They teach people how to do the well, it'd be like if he's becoming a teacher at in industrial arts
Oh, okay.
in that area.
Okay, that's
but they
what I
also
see.
put their foundry in there, which they pour a ton of beautiful statues
Sure.
and stuff there, bronze, etc. They're also building Fishley Hall. I think that's what it's going to be called. That's going to be a student environment where it's going to be attached to the union. It's going to be where students will get their scholarship money, you go in and get your grades there. It's all anything student service related will be in this building.
Sure. Okay. It's amazing how it's grown because initially there was nothing south of they had a barracks or a gymnasium that had been at the airport at Walker Field, brought that in, and that's where the intramurals were involved. That was south of there. Now that's all filled in, and the field out there where they used to play softball and all that, that's all buildings there now, right,
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah, of course they've got a new softball stadium. They've got a new track, new soccer field, and the men's soccer is in the top echelon. They're hosting the super regional this next week.
Sure. I think they're number 10 in the country, if I saw. And Fort Hays has moved back in there because they had a big win over Northwest Missouri. At the 2 years in a row they beat them, which is almost unheard of. I think Pittsburgh State was the only other school that ever had beat them 2 years in a row.
The last time it was done was about 30 years ago.
Yeah, and I think Pittsburgh State was the one that did that. And of course, so they're tied now, and so they're going to. I think they're number 7. They're just out of the. And then they have a chance this Saturday if they can win and stay tied there to move. If they're in the top 6, it's my understanding they'll get to host. Is that how that works?
Actually, it's the top 7. They were 7th last week. They've been moved up to 5th. If the team Fort Hays plays the easiest team in the conference, there's not yet won a game this season.
Right,
So they're pretty well locked into winning this week. There's a team in Indianapolis, Indiana, a team there that is just ahead of them that has an extremely tough game this week. If they were to lose, we will actually move up to 4th or even 3rd, but definitely 4th. And that would move. If that happens, we would host the first round game.
You'd be hosting. Is the top 4? Is that what it is?
Top 4. Actually, what they do is the first place team has a bye week, and the next 6 teams play each other, and then the number 4, 5th winner will then end up playing the number 1 seed.
So that great football program going on right now.
It's been developing a lot.
And
yes.
the soccer is big, and
the girls' basketball is really hot. They play KU and K-State to overtime.
I
and
know, 2 overtime, was it 2 overtime game?
One
One overtime, okay.
and then two. They lost by 2 to K State.
Yeah.
With taking the last shot, didn't make it. So they're right there, and it's going to be a fun season.
Sure
Men's
is.
basketball, we don't know yet because they did not have any exhibition games.
Sure.
But they're supposed to be improved. That's all I know.
I went down to KU and either K State and Fort Hays played. They played exhibition several years ago, I think. Which is a great idea. Question.
Yeah, we have a couple PHS graduates that are athletes at Fort Hays this year, and then there's a whole bunch of graduates that are going to school down there.
Yeah.
Because Josh Linker is wrestling,
Right.
and Jack Pockabear is running track.
Okay. So.
Well, and you have.
And we'll have them hopefully around.
And you also have volleyball.
And Tatum Bartels,
Tatum,
of course,
yeah.
Volleyball.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
started. She's a sophomore this year. She started as a freshman.
Yeah.
Wow,
And,
okay.
She's awesome.
yes.
So, well, back. I graduated in '55, and the chain. I had Mort Cunningham. Who was when you were there? Who was president? Hammond.
He was there 4 years. It started with a G. Gusted,
Okay.
Dr. Gusted,
Okay.
and he and then after him, Tamanik was president. For
Tamanik, Jerry
10
Tamanik.
10 years, and then after that, Hammond came in for 27 years.
Yeah.
And now, and then Birta, and now we've got Mason.
They had a second generation club when I was there, and Tamanik was our sponsor for that. And I don't know if they even have that anymore or not. My parents both went there, so that's why I was part of the second generation club. But it's amazing. Every time I go into what used to be the Coliseum and what they've done with the B. Schmidt. It's an amazing facility there now to watch their encore series and things. So it's a great facility to have in our part of the world.
Yeah, luckily we're this close. The ones from people from Southwest Kansas, we're an hour away. For them, it's 2 and 3 and 4
Sure.
hours, and we're lucky to have them this close.
Yeah. And they've reached it. Don't they have a working agreement now with Mr. Barton? Is it with or Dodge City or did they work with some of the junior colleges? Don't they? Fort Hays has a program with several of the junior colleges.
They have Colby. I think most of the colleges in Western Kansas, Pratt, and on West. I'm not. I think they even have one with Concordia. They have some arrangements, and what those arrangements mean, I don't know. With the JUCOs to transition into Fort Hays much easier. But how those work, that's more of an academic issue than anything.
Always enjoy coming out of Kansas City on 70, and there you're running there. All of a sudden, the big billboard with the Power Cat on there, looking at you. And it's a great, and they've reached out to get more people to come out here because it's convenient. It's a nice campus. You don't have to go up hills or down hills, and it's just great. I tell people you can go to Fort Hays for 4 years, get your bachelor's, and the money you save then compared to going to KU or K State, you can actually use that money to pay for your master's degree. Sure. Yeah.
And that doesn't mean a master's at Fort Hays. We're talking a master's degree at MIT, the big schools, and so it's the savings is dramatic. I know the personal financial planning team just got done this last 2 weeks ago. They finished 7th in the country against all divisions. They got a lot better program than people would think.
So if you want to meet the new president Monday morning, 11 o'clock, come out to Huck Boyd. You can hear her answer questions, and we'll be firing at her, and I'm sure she'll be talking individually if you want to talk, and greet. It's kind of a meet and greet, isn't it?
Meet and greet with the press conference tied in.
With the press conference tied in. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. One other thing, I tell people this, they can't believe it. When I went there in 51, 55, took me 4 years. That's the way you used to do it. Now a lot of times it's 5.
It's mostly 5, partly because most of the curriculums out there anymore, they put so many requirements in there that it's virtually impossible to get done in 5.
Yeah, right.
Now it does help the kids here. Most of them are doing the dual credits here in high school for their kids classes. They're not going to be in their major, and that does make it more possible for them to get that in 4.
Yeah. And it's 16 hours a semester. And when I tell them what it cost me
Yeah.
in 51, $42 a semester. That wasn't an hour. That was semester. $5 on top of that to pay for the new student union, because you didn't have a student union. We had we had Pickett Hall, I think, was in the social building is what they call it. Not Pickett Hall. The social building is right next to Pickett Hall, and but $42, 47. I made enough in the summertime, staying with my folks, to put me all the way through next year without having to borrow any money. I know it's not that way anymore, but.
And you don't want to get into politics, but bluntly,
Sure.
everybody's complaining about the cost of education. Dr. Hammond said that when he started as the president of the university, the state of Kansas paid for approximately 70% of the cost of education, or excuse me, 60% of the cost of educating a student at the universities in Kansas. That is down to approximately 20%.
Yeah, right.
And so when that state funding has collapsed, and there's I keep arguing that they need to identify why that happened, or
Yeah.
where the money has been going. But that has forced them to dramatically jack up the tuition rates.
Sure.
And the big schools have jacked it up much more aggressively than Hayes. Hayes is the cheapest in probably the 4-state region for a 4-year public school. And it's even worse in Colorado. My understanding is that in University of Colorado has less than 10% of their educational costs paid for by the state.
Wow.
They don't call it a state school out there. They call it now a state assisted school university. So they've even come up with a new term for that. But Kansas isn't quite that bad, but it's not much better.
Okay, well, I'll see you Monday morning.
Yep, sounds great.
11 o'clock out at Huck Boyd, and come on out and talk to the new president and see how the media does it. Okay.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you very
fine.
much.
Thank you, Dennis Miller, with us this morning, talking about our favorite college, and we'll be talking about Hanson, what's happening in Hanson Museum in just a moment after we take this time out.
Your dreams have been our dreams since 1884 when we first opened our doors. This is Lloyd Culbertson for First National Bank and Trust. It's a place filled with friends and neighbors who want nothing more than seeing you happy and better off. First National Bank and Trust in Phillipsburg, Logan, and Long Island, Smith County Bank in Smith Center, Solomon Valley Bank, Beloit. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Coombs Incorporated in Phillipsburg, offering local and long-distance hauling, complete shop service, including an automatic aluminum polisher to restore and refurbish those aluminum truck rims to a mirror finish, and 24-hour towing service. Now hiring over-the-road drivers traveling 48 states. Excellent benefit and pay package. See Coombs Incorporated on Facebook. Coombs Incorporated. You call, we haul.
We're going to talk about calligraphy and some other things this morning with Sherry. Sherry, thanks for coming over this
Nice to
morning.
be here.
I
Thank
thought,
you
well,
for
you
having
might be waking up this morning and seeing a bunch of snow and snowy roads, but no problem coming over, right?
No snow. We didn't get the moisture.
Okay, let's talk about. You said the class is full.
Yes.
But what is a calligraphy class?
Well, it's not a true calligraphy class this time. What it is called a calligraphy make and take, and we're going to make a sign, and she's going to show us some calligraphy basics to make our sign. She has two options for us. This time around, it is Joy to the World or Season's Greetings, and you can see those pictures up on our Dangy Hansen Museum Facebook page. But it'll be on board, and she's just going to lead us through the steps of making a decorative sign for your home, incorporating some calligraphy techniques. Her name is Jandra Feldman, and she's from the Beloit area. Glen Elder, I think, is her address, actually, and I got in touch with her last year. She came for Arts and Craft Fair and had a demonstration, and we said, let's try a class. And if this goes well, we might try an actual calligraphy class with her, but it's just a trial thing, see if she would like to make the distance drive and such.
I've got to ask you, what is calligraphy? Is it
Fancy writing.
okay?
That's the best way
Bottom
I
line,
can.
fancy.
Very scripty. You remember illuminated manuscripts from the Middle Ages? That kind of beautiful.
Okay.
And there's a little difference too,
Real
you know,
scroll
the
or-
real old
real
English, you
stuff,
know.
okay.
But yeah, that's what I always think of when I think of calligraphy is illuminated manuscripts. So.
Okay, so the purpose of that is to improve improve your penmanship, or just calligraphy, learn how to do things, make fancy
Yeah,
signs
makes
and
fancy
everything.
sign. That's kind of a real trending craft type thing right now, where you're making signs with these really scripty fonts and things. And you know, if you're very good with computer, or you can have the ability to cut out vinyl, you can do that without your own hand. And you know, I don't know about you, but I type 90% of everything, and my penmanship has degraded drastically.
In fact, when I used to type everything, and if I have to write something out, I don't write it. I print it in capitals, the whole thing. If I do that, I don't think I've written anything except my name in years. You know.
It's dangerous when I do, because I can type much faster than I can write, and when I write, I'll skip words because I'm ahead of it in my mind.
Did you like to just sit at the typewriter and put everything out?
I use the computer for everything almost. Like we handwrite out phone messages and a few things like that, sticky notes here and there. But yeah, my penmanship is horrible. I feel bad for anybody who tries to read.
Okay, so how many are involved in that class then?
It's the maximum she would take was 30.
Wow,
and we
that's
filled
great.
It.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and if this goes well, you might have a calligraphy class?
We might, or do some more work with her, you know.
And this is a sign that you can, it's a holiday sign,
A holiday sign for your home. It'll look beautiful on your door, or just above your mantle, or on
That's
your
a great
wall, or
idea.
whatever. They're really cute, and I believe that the decorative part of it, where she's not expecting us to draw, will be stenciled. But when we write in the words, she will show us some basics and help us with that. And it'll be fun.
It's kind of neat because it's something you did. It's your own decoration that you're doing.
Decoration, right.
That's neat.
And they would make great gifts, like teacher's gifts or something, you know, they're really pretty. Yeah.
Will all the supplies be there for them and everything?
Everything. You just have to show up to class, pay your registration fee, and show up to class. We'll have all of the tools that you need, and she's even got a surprise for each and every participant. She's pretty excited, and I won't tell you what it is, but each person will leave with a personalized gift from her.
Wow.
So she needs everyone's first name correct spelling.
Oh,
So
that's great. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Very good. So that's what else is happening this fall?
that's our last continuing education class for this year. We're finishing up quilt class on Tuesday after calligraphy class, and the ladies have been quilting for 8 weeks, and they've made great progress. Some of them will be completed, and some of them will have a little homework to do over the next year till the next quilting class. I think many of the ladies that take the quilting class do so for the 3 uninterrupted hours of sewing.
Yeah.
You know, there's no kids, there's no anybody there saying, Mom, I need this, or can you grab the phone or anything like that. So it's nice. And then we will just really start planning hard for 2019, getting our continuing education schedule finalized. We've already got a good start on it and everything like that. And then we have 2 really great exhibits to take us out of the year. Currently we have Album Studio Exhibition, and Lori Album is the artist behind it. She is from Waukene, but she teaches art in Hill City, secondary art. She's a beautiful watercolorist, and that is her passion. But she does have some oil works. what's great about Lori, I think, as an artist, as a person as well, is that she is such a gracious person. And I don't know if you know much about watercolor, but it is a very
It's hard. And
it's very hard because it's a very thin medium and there's a lot of movement to the paint. But that's kind of Lori's personality. She's very gracious, she's very open, and she's a very loving person. And so it really does fit. And she's done a lot of commission work for people. And a lady that I know that's had her commission over 10 pieces for her says,
Wow.
you know, she'll take it to Lori and back after she gets it to her, she'll say, you know, like she had a portrait done of her grandson. His eyes aren't quite right. Can you know, whatever. And she'll say, just tell me what you want to do. There's no like offense that it's not quite perfect or whatever. And that's just so much who Lori is. She's just a very easygoing, open, loving person, and her art really reflects her heart. And it's beautiful. It's technically sound, but it's also filled with emotion and just really moving work. Yeah.
That's on now through
December 2nd. And then after Lori's exhibition, we are going to have a red and green quilt exhibit from the Rocky Mountain Quilt Museum.
Okay.
And it is just quilts from the 1800s. They're older. Some of them are piece, some of them are applique, and they're just beautiful old-fashioned quilts that your grandmother would have made, and they're done by hand, they're pieced by hand, and they're just really pretty.
I still have my quilt that my grandmother did when I was a baby. You know, I still got that. It's somewhere. I've got to find it.
You're gonna have to find it
because we had 3 or 4 quilts. I mean, these are the old way they did it before, you know, all by hand.
All
you know.
the fancy machines.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should see the ladies that come to quilt class. The paraphernalia they have to quilt with is remarkable. I might change my mind someday and try it because I'm not sure this working with the equipment looks fun. But these are not done with that fun equipment. They were the old-fashioned hand quilted. They're beautiful.
A lot of hours spent on that. A lot of love going into it.
A lot
That's
of
a
love
big,
going
you know,
into it. And I was unaware, but during the 1800s, red and green were popular color motifs for quilts. And I think that's unusual, but I guess it really was.
Well, okay, then they're ready for a new year. Now,
Yeah.
do you get together and have a big planning session on what you want to do, or how do you work on what you're going to have next year in 2018 for your
Classes and exhibits?
the exhibits
Well,
and everything?
Classes, I kind of bring them to my board of directors and say, you know, this is what I'd like. I invite the public to give us suggestions, and my board of directors gives me suggestions, and then we go looking for someone to teach that kind of class, and then they approve it. And the same works with exhibitions. Sometimes people bring us ideas, but oftentimes I'm searching and scouring for things, and then we have a selection committee, and they review the cost and the time frame, and then say yes or no. So I'm just responsible for gathering ideas and taking it to them. But we do welcome ideas. And I have board members that are very good. Like they read all kinds of newspapers and they'll cut out little articles and say, this is a great idea. Let's see if we can do this or that. And that's very helpful.
That sure is, you know, to find out things.
Yeah.
When's your next painting class?
February.
And it's not,
It's Joy of Painting.
Okay.
Not a lighthouse.
house, yeah.
Sorry. Sorry,
I'm gonna-
Dad, not a lighthouse. No, that'll be one of our first continuing education classes in 19. I haven't visited with Anna, but Anna usually does 4 classes for me. And last year, in 18, she did do a class in January for me. So we'll get her schedule finalized and figure out. But
she's doing, Anna Schremer,
Yeah.
she's doing in Palco tonight on pressure cookers. She's doing one on pressure cookers. That's a big thing, you know, and everything.
yeah, those Instapots are trending hard right now. Everyone has one except for me. Or do you have one?
Pressure cooker?
Yeah.
No. I probably, no. Everything, 99% of the stuff I cook goes into the microwave frozen and comes out cooked, you know, I hope.
You hope.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to send it back.
I know, and sometimes it's in too long and it's as hard as a rock. You can't eat it. You know, bread is terrible.
In the microwave.
In the microwave, it's terrible. You can't even chew it. Anyway, no, I'm going to have to. I did fix something in a crock pot last week though, so I did make a little stew.
Hey, you're moving up.
Yeah, I'm moving up a little stew
Good
there, and I'm
job.
making up so I can freeze it then, you know.
Yeah. I think you should come to some of Anna's classes. She could help
I
you
really
out.
should. I probably
Yeah.
should learn something. She was supposed to be on this morning, but she was in Palco doing Part D, and she has that class tonight there. So
Yeah.
sounds like things are going well. And last time we were here, I'd ask you, do you have a whole bunch of fireworks in the basement?
No, we don't. No, don't worry about coming over and getting blown up. It's not going to happen. However, if you do come over in the next 3 months, we are in the middle of a very big heating and air conditioning renovation project.
Oh,
So
okay.
we will be in various stages of installation, and that is involving lots of different parts of our building you wouldn't consider.
Sure.
Like currently we have insulators there, and they're spraying foam insulation in the ceiling, so
Mm-hmm.
we have big hoses dragged through various doors throughout the day. I feel really bad for those fellows. They're doing a great job, but there is not very much space up in our attic, less than I think 4 foot in most places,
Really?
sometimes
Yeah.
lower than 3 foot, and one of the fellows is 6'3" or so. And
Wow. Yeah.
and I worry because they're shooting it up there and they're having to walk along beams and things, because they have to do planks from one beam to
Sure.
the next beam, and I'm just praying no one falls through the ceiling. So do be aware if you're coming that we will be in various stages of this installation process. The exhibit will still be available for your viewing pleasure, but you may experience like an open door in the cold, or have to step over some hoses and cords, but we're going to do our best to minimize
that's
any
great, yeah.
discomfort to patrons.
Okay, and we have Dane a new what's the new exhibit? Is hats?
Dane Hansen's hats.
Hats,
Yeah,
that's what it is,
interesting
yeah.
story there is they were cleaning out some storage areas in the basement, and Carol Bells was around at the time, and she said, anything that you guys don't want, I want to look at before you throw away. And so there were these hat boxes, and she thought, oh, we can use those somewhere along the line. So she took them home and just hadn't gotten to them for a while. She had some different things come up and was out of town and such. And then when she finally got into looking at them, they weren't just boxes. They had Mr. Hansen's hats in them. So very glad she saved them. And she brought them up. She said, we have to make a display. So we have a wonderful display of Mr. Hansen's hats, and their variety of different styles, but they're all mostly made from the Knox Hat Company, which was based in Brooklyn, New York. Interesting fact is that this hat company made several great men's hats, one of them being President Lincoln in his famous stove
really?
hat.
Wow.
Yeah, and so they were the premier hatter of the day. And Lincoln, was known to keep documents up in his stovepipe.
Sure.
So, it's kind of neat. And you're welcome to come in and look at Mr. Hansen's hats. We'll even let you try them on. And who knows,
Wow.
maybe some of his
Okay.
entrepreneurial spirit will transfer to you.
Everyone used to wear a hat back then,
Right.
The ladies all had shawls and all, and the men had
And gloves
hats.
and even
or-
little
yeah.
hats. And I did some research because that kind of made me curious. Why do we not wear hats anymore? And there's some really interesting schools of thought as to why the hat went out of style. Some of them blame FDR for the building of the interstate highways because when you got into it made personal travel so much more accessible, and men getting into the car didn't need the hat. The hat wasn't needed
Sure,
for
yeah.
protection. And then others blame Kennedy and his gorgeous hair because he did take a hat with him to his inauguration. He wore it too, but he took it off when he addressed the crowd, which was really not common in that day. And they all said he just liked to show off his hair.
Yeah. And I've had a baseball caps, but I don't wear that, and I just, for some reason, I never cared for caps, or hats or anything. And that's how things evolve, and
Yeah,
that's okay.
yeah. Fashion's changed, and it did made you think too, because
well.
ladies really do not dress nearly as formal as they
Sure.
used to, even
Oh,
just
well,
to
yeah,
go to the
you know.
grocery store.
Yeah, everyone
You
goes
know.
in jeans now, to weddings and funerals. Anyway, so okay. Anything else that's going on? It sounds like things are still going well, and we're very, very fortunate to have the Hansen with us. For many reasons, the grants and the museum and everything. It's very fortunate to have the.
It is amazing that we can offer so many wonderful opportunities for people at no charge with our
Sure.
exhibits. And the classes, their prices are so minimal compared to what they could be or should be on a personal level. And it's a wonderful opportunity for us to try to enrich the lives of the people who are in Western
you do.
Kansas.
I
And
give it.
no matter what day you come, we will have something amazing for you to see. I can promise you that.
Right, I still like the guard.
Yes.
And I'd more people to comment on that. I've talked. I don't know how many people say I was standing there talking to him, and then all of a sudden he wasn't answering.
The insulators, the fellow said he'd been there 2 days, and he said the first day he couldn't figure out why that guy never moved. And then he went over and looked at him, and he took a picture and sent it to his wife, and his wife said, "Are you being rude? Why are you taking pictures of him?" And he's like, "No, he's not real." And she says, "No, thank you." So he asked us the story. We had to tell him the story. So.
Sure. Well, thank you for coming over. We
Thank you,
appreciate
Tad.
it.
It's good
you
to
have
be
a good
here.
Thanksgiving.
You too,
Okay.
and thank you for having me. I was delighted to be
Okay,
here.
fine. Glad to have
Okay.
you. Thank you. I'm glad you didn't have to fight any icy roads or anything.
Me too, because I don't do well with
Okay.
them.
Do you have the high school out there? Okay. Boy, everyone's showing up just bang, bang, bang. We're going to talk about something coming up here. That calligraphy class is next week, but it's too late. You can't get for that. Okay. Leslie Struckhoff is going to be coming in here in a minute with some of, how many does she have this morning? Three? Six? Okay. All righty. We'll get them all in here. Talk about the Phillips County Retirement Center.
Looking for insurance.
Let's see who's free.
When insurance agents work for only one company, their options are simply limited. But a Trusted Choice independent agent is free to shop many companies for a better deal. Free to do what's right for you.
Let us shop for you. Contact Rogers & Associates to learn more.
Your dreams have been our dreams since 1884 when we first opened our doors. This is Lloyd Culbertson for First National Bank and Trust. It's a place filled with friends and neighbors who want nothing more than seeing you happy and better off. First National Bank and Trust in Phillipsburg, Logan, and Long Island, Smith County Bank and Smith Center, Solomon Valley Bank, Beloit. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Coombs Incorporated in Phillipsburg, offering local and long-distance hauling, complete shop service, including an automatic aluminum polisher to restore and refurbish those aluminum truck rims to a mirror finish, and 24-hour towing service. Now hiring over-the-road drivers traveling 48 states. Excellent benefit and pay package. See Coombs Incorporated on Facebook. Coombs Incorporated. You call, we haul.
Your dreams have been our dreams since 1884 when we first opened our doors. This is Lloyd Culbertson for First National Bank and Trust. It's a place filled with friends and neighbors who want nothing more than seeing you happy and better off. First National Bank and Trust in Phillipsburg, Logan, and Long Island, Smith County Bank and Smith Center, Solomon Valley Bank, Beloit. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
And back on the Tadpoll this morning, we're going to talk about the history of dating, and I'm really interested in that. Leslie Struckhoff, of course, is the one who arranged all this, and we won't have Leslie on today, but we have some of her students here. And I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go through and introduce yourself and let us know what your class is, and we'll come back and talk about it. Okay, your name.
I'm Sydney Mitchell, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Summer Peak, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Nicole Huntley, and I'm a senior.
I'm Jacob Mahaffey, and I'm a junior.
I'm Carter Jenkins, and I'm a freshman.
Okay, so all of you want to go on the stage in later life? Do you want to go on Broadway or something and do that? Or how'd you get involved in the history of dating?
Well, I decided to do it my freshman year because I've been doing plays for Kerwin, and I always enjoy, acting and being dramatic and stuff. And it seems to be a family thing, too, because all the peaks have done the Kerwin play.
They do the Kerwin thing on Old Settlers Day.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you do something here this year?
Not this year. I was busy doing other things,
Okay,
but
sure.
I've been doing it years past.
What made you want to do this?
Well, this summer I was in The Wizard of Oz and I played Dorothy.
I know.
And I love musicals and I love plays, so I thought, why not try the high school play?
Okay. How was that playing Dorothy? I think I talked to you about that. What was it like? The most famous movie of all time, I think, my favorite.
I was really nervous because Dorothy is an iconic character, especially in Kansas. But I thought I did pretty well for being a freshman in high school.
So. I think they kind of make, in the movie, they kind of make fun of Kansas, I think. We aren't in Kansas anymore. You know how that goes. Okay, how did you get involved?
So, not recently, but I used to do plays also. And I started when I was like 6 in plays all the way up to when I was 16. And then I just really like doing plays, so I just started doing them in high school, and I really enjoy it.
Okay, so have you enjoyed doing this?
Yeah,
okay.
I have.
How about you?
So, me and my best friend did a play a while ago, and we thought of it as something to hang out more.
Mm-hmm.
And then I really fell in love with theater, and I've been doing them ever since.
Mm-hmm.
A couple years ago, my mom asked me if I wanted to be in the Beauty and the Beast play, and I said sure, and I had a lot of fun, and so.
What were you in the Beauty and the Beast? What did you do?
I think I was a servant.
Okay. All right. Did you enjoy that?
Oh, yeah.
That's one of my favorites. Is this any music in this, or is all this play, right? You know what I'm
There
saying?
actually is a very small singing part that I think you'll enjoy. Sydney actually is in that part.
Okay. Who wants to tell about what's the premise? What's the history of dating? That has to really be a thing. Well, before I ask about that, how did you determine that this was going to do? Leslie, how did you determine what play they were going to do?
We basically narrowed it down to 4 possible plays, and last year being my first year, didn't realize it was senior tradition to pick the play. I just chose it for them. But this year, narrowed it down to 4, and then had the seniors pick the ones that they liked.
So the seniors can pick quite a bit. Okay, so who's a senior here?
Hi.
You're the only senior, all right. So what made you decide that you thought maybe you didn't vote for this? Did you kind of vote for this, or?
I chose it because it was kind of comedic, and like last year we did like a serious play that was like adults even did it, and so I wanted to make something that had the audience in tears and was in laughing too.
Okay. So who wants to tell the premise? What's the story about? Okay.
Well, the history is dating is kind of basically just what the title says. It's going back through the past and showing how dating has always kind of been the same thing, It's awkward, you don't know what to say on the first date. You get to see how it's become a little different from technology to cavemen, And it's has a lot of humor into it too, and it's just a really fun play.
A lot of humor in it? Is it a humorous play?
Yeah.
Okay. Are the lines, is it hard? That's when I was in a couple I did. I think The Music Man here, I didn't have a very big part in that. And Arctic Old Lace did one on those. But it was hard for me to learn the lines. Are any of you have a lot of lines you have to learn?
When I play a flapper,
A flapper?
A
Okay.
flapper, yeah.
Okay.
I have quite a bit of lines there, and I go back and forth with a lot of people, and it is a little bit of a struggle to learn all those lines, but it's overall just really fun once you learn it, because you really become that character.
So what else do you play besides the flapper?
I play an Olmec woman. That's a chocolate scene. That's really fun. I am a Roman woman at the very end. I am an Egyptian daughter. Oh, let's see.
So there's a lot of costume changes in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, let's see. I'm a colonial woman. And do I have any others? I think that's about it. It's a lot of...
What do you play?
Okay, so I'm woman, which is basically modern daters. So I'm on a date with modern man.
Okay.
I'm also the cheerleader number 2. I am 80s woman, so that's the singing part.
Sure.
And I think I was also heroine, which is like Wild West.
Sure. Okay. How about you?
I actually have the most lines, and I'm like the lead because I'm the professor who actually brings in all the scenes, and I'm the one who's lecturing about the history of dating, and I'm the one that's like giving the time basis through all of it.
Okay.
So I'm always there on stage at all.
You're kind of like a narrator?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. And you have to know all the parts too. You have to memorize.
Yeah, because like there's times where I might just say one line, but then there's other times that I'm like actually lecturing and have like a whole paragraph to say.
Okay. All right. How about you?
I'm cheerleader number 4. I'm a profile avatar, and then I'm a waiter.
Okay. All right.
Throughout history, I don't change.
You don't change?
Yeah, I'm just a waiter throughout the whole thing.
All right.
I'm Olmec Woman 3, and I'm a Puritan man, and Mongolian man, and I'm also a medieval man.
Wow. Medieval man?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's interesting. Do you have a costume that the medievals wore? Kind of. Anyway, so, okay. So obviously you're working on all this quite a bit. How much you practice? Have you had any?
We practice every day for about an hour and a half. The first few weeks we were at the high school at 6:30 in the morning, practicing till about like 7:30. It's a little hard to get up that early in the morning, but now for the last 2 weeks of practice, we were practicing at 5 p.m. at the Boyd every day after school.
Wow. Okay. Do all of you know your parts pretty well now?
Pretty well, yeah.
Any of you use any secrets to remember everything? Anything to help you remember?
There are little inside jokes that we kind of use to remember them.
Okay.
Yeah. Just constantly reading over it.
Okay, now it's coming up a week from this Saturday and Sunday. Or Saturday night at what time? 7?
7.
And then Sunday afternoon at 2 or 2 o'clock. That's a week from this. Okay. And your dress rehearsal, when? Is that Friday or Thursday?
It's that Tuesday because we're all busy on like that Friday because of the football boys.
Sure.
Go Panthers.
Right, yeah, right. They'd be there somewhere.
Yes.
And what else do you do besides this in school? What things are involved in?
I am in the choir, so I love music, so I'm in the choir. I did volleyball, and I'm a PHS cheerleader.
Okay.
I'm in band, and I'm also in art.
What instrument do you play in the band?
I play the trombone.
Okay, all right. Trombone?
Yeah. It's.
How'd you get on the trombone? Usually ladies like you are the flute, or maybe something, but.
When Mr. Schick comes in 4th grade and has you looking at different instruments, he handed me the trombone mouthpiece, and he was like, it'll tickle a little bit, and so I blew it, and I was like, this is the most amazing noise I've ever made, and I love it. And I was just stuck with the trombone ever since.
How do you get involved?
I'm involved in a lot. I'm involved in all the sports, all the extracurriculars. I'm involved in choir. Like you name it, I'm probably in it.
Wow, how do you kids keep track of everything? I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Going way back when I was, they had sports, but I mean, they didn't have anything for the ladies at all. They didn't have any ladies sports at all. This goes way back, and because they didn't think ladies were strong enough to do that, and how that all goes. And but there wasn't much going on. I was in the choir, I think, but that was about it. And sports, but it's amazing now how there's so many things going on. Do all of you are real good, I guess, on texting and all that.
Yeah.
Right? So, that's a given there, I think. What about you? What else do you get involved in?
Pretty much, I've been out of everything this year. I am doing wrestling, though.
Okay.
I haven't been involved in anything yet, but I will be doing track.
Okay, all right. What's your favorite thing in track?
Pole vault.
Pole vault. Man, that's the hardest. That's the hardest sport I think there is. The hardest competition there. Well, are you ready? Are you about ready for everything?
Yeah.
I always like to tell people break a leg. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
And I hope things go well, and I'll have some more next week, I guess, on here. Some different ones. I hope things continue to go well. I hope the Panthers keep playing on Friday night until that Saturday afternoon. You know. So, thank you. Did I keep you long enough? I kept you out of school a little bit. That was all right. Yeah, hope you have another good school day. And Panthers tomorrow night. They'll be playing in Conway Springs at 6 o'clock. So, are you planning? Any of you planning on going down?
Are you?
Okay, fine. Cheer loud. The coldest ball game I was ever at was Conway Springs when Smith Center played down there a long time ago. It was cold, and I hope it won't be quite that cold tomorrow night. Thanks for coming on and everything. Oh,
Those that aren't going can watch. Do you want to
well, that's right. If you can't go to the game tomorrow night, you can see it here. My Phillips County Online, and you go to
We'll share the link to the YouTube video.
to the YouTube. So it's going to be on tomorrow night. Just go to My Phillips County Online YouTube, and you'll be able to watch the ball game. So those of you who can't make it, those of you who are watching, it's a long way down there, and some good places to eat along the way and back. But that's beside the point too. So good luck. We hope that things go well for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's say we'll get you on next week. Okay. All right. Fine. You'll come back with another group next week about 9:30. All right, I think we have two more guests to talk with. It's been a busy morning, but we'll see you. And again, break a leg.
Thank you.
I've got the story, but you know where that came from? Break a leg. The story, where that came from? I guess on stage there's a leg, a part of the curtain, is my understanding, and it's on both sides of the stage. It's called the leg. Legg, I think, and sometimes they would break, and if it would, then things would not go right. But that's sort of my understanding. To break a leg is where that came from. That's one thing I've heard. Is that right, lad? You heard that, Leslie? Okay, all right. Well, I'll do some research on that, and we'll talk about it next week. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I'll let you go this time. All right, back, and we'll be talking with Gary Bills. He's brought someone from Phillips County Retirement Center to talk about their big Sunday coming up here. We'll take a break.
Your dreams have been our dreams since 1884 when we first opened our doors. This is Lloyd Culbertson for First National Bank and Trust. It's a place filled with friends and neighbors who want nothing more than seeing you happy and better off. First National Bank and Trust in Phillipsburg, Logan, and Long Island, Smith County Bank and Smith Center, Solomon Valley Bank, Beloit. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Coombs Incorporated in Phillipsburg, offering local and long-distance hauling, complete shop service, including an automatic aluminum polisher to restore and refurbish those aluminum truck rims to a mirror finish, and 24-hour towing service. Now hiring over-the-road drivers traveling 48 states. Excellent benefit and pay package. See Coombs Incorporated on Facebook. Coombs Incorporated. You call, we haul.
And back on our Tadpoll, our final guest this morning. We had a busy morning. We do appreciate everyone taking time to come in and talk with us and about the various things going on in a very, very busy time of the year. Gary Bills and Nate Glendenning are joining us this morning. Gary, the reason why we're here, you could kind of talk about Nate a little bit, what's going on. Phillips County Retirement Center having a big Sunday. A lot of construction going on out there. I have not yet been in what has happened in the building itself, a lot of things are done on there, but you're on the committee that's kind of in charge of what's going on.
You haven't been in there and see, it's all done.
Well,
you didn't know that?
Well, that's all coming on.
Nate can inform us on all that, but no, things, they just keep progressing and getting better and better and better.
Mm-hmm.
And the staff is doing a great job. We're very fortunate to have Nate come on and take over what he's doing. He's basically the assisted living manager. But if something breaks down or goes haywire, anywhere in the facility, Chris calls for Nate.
Of my wife was in the retirement center for 5 years, and I always look forward to going out, because they always treated Pat and me so well. It's very caring. The retirement center there, and Nate, and I haven't been around the assisted living as much as maybe one of these days I'll have to be there. I'm sure, but what is your, Nate? What is your job there at the retirement center?
Yeah, so like Gary said, I am the administrator at the assisted living facility, so I oversee the operation there, and then there's odds and ends that I take care of over at the retirement center as well. So, but kind of tagging on to what Gary said about what we've been doing out there. Probably 4 or 5 years ago, we kind of really noticed a demand for our assisted living apartments. We'd had a long waiting list. There's people that were waiting that would have to be turned away to go elsewhere to find the services that they need. So we really started looking into expanding and adding on some apartments. So what we did, we decided that we were going to add on 6 new apartments. That takes the total to 16 apartments.
16 now,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so, but at that same time, we decided that we also wanted to update the environment for the nursing home residents as well. So we did a floor-to-ceiling, basically, makeover of the entire nursing home. We've added some new spaces. We've got some new dining areas, smaller dining areas, more kind of what we like to consider home-like areas for the residents. We've also added some new living areas for the residents that are smaller and, like I said, more home-like there. And so, like I said, it's a total transformation to a more modern setting. So.
Yeah, you have to really look and try to figure out, now, what was this before?
Yeah.
And everything. I got concerned because I kept looking for the room I thought I was going to get, and they've done something different with it. So. But no, it's so much nicer than it was. And I like the way Nate kind of helps take charge of things in a nice way, but really helps get things done. But that assisted living now, when we got that expanded around, it's kind of like a big horseshoe out there. Yeah. They're going to have a nice backyard. They can go out there and sit, talk, raise flowers, raise cane, so, whatever. But no, it's unbelievable how nice the facility is.
Sure. Okay. Is there still a big demand for the assisted living? I mean, do you have a waiting list still?
Yeah. So what happens? I think for the longest time we were full, and so what people would do is they would call and say, "Hey, we've got a future need that we see, so we want to put our names in the hat, so we can be on the list." So right now, and then when you have an opening, it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's ready right that minute.
Sure.
So right now we do have some openings.
Really?
Yeah. So. On Sunday from 2 to 4, we'll have an open house at the retirement center and the assisted living. So anybody who comes out then can tour, see the apartments that we have available, and kind of see what everything's all about.
Okay, and learn a little bit about the assisted. Just what is assisted living with? Let's say if I come out and say, what advantage is it to me being assisted living?
Okay,
as opposed to the other side of the retirement center.
So the nursing home, they provide a lot more skilled care than what the assisted living does. At the assisted living, our main goal is to promote independence, but there's also a safety and security of knowing that there's somebody there 24 hours a day. If you need any services, we can provide any kind of medication management. We can provide help with bathing, dressing, anything like that. Or we've got folks that have lived there in the past where all we've done is maybe housekeeping, laundry, and cook your meals. But for families who maybe aren't in town, or for folks that have lived on the farm, it's just the peace of mind knowing that there's somebody there all the time if something were to happen. So.
But now, if I'm still capable of driving, I mean, is it just like I can leave and drive
certainly.
somewhere?
Yeah, you're free to come go as you please.
Go downtown if you're capable of doing all that, right?
Yep. Well, it's just like being at home, only you're not at home. You're in an establishment where they have homes for you.
Keeping track of what's going on in your life.
It's better than a motel, or something like that. And you have neighbors. They play games. They do things, And
Well, sure.
Nate has a great big fancy office over there. I look at everything's done over there. Then you go by Nate's little window and he's sitting in there.
We should have thought about that.
Well, I've done some thinking about that.
That's fine.
But anyway, it's well managed. The people seem to get along pretty well. And I look forward to next summer when out in the backyard and the flowers, they get their flowers all planted up and the swimming pool gets going. And but no, it's really a nice facility. And you can go around other areas and go in their facilities and then come back and look at ours. And I'm not saying this to be bragging or anything, but we have a super nice facility.
Well, yeah, and I haven't seen, and when I was there, they had the big dining area, and then you come in a little area over here, and then a room for the family. That's all changed. I understand that the nurses station is in the center anymore.
Right.
You can move that. People have told me that, and the different.
Well, different churches have Sunday services, and I've got one grumble about that. They moved it from where it was to out by the front door it comes in, but it's just kind of a triangular deal. It just doesn't fit right, you know. And we'll see if we can get something done with that someday. But
Now you said that the church services were the TV room was. They call it TV room. Is it still that way though?
So that's been converted into what we call a family conference area.
Okay.
We in the past we didn't have any really private spaces for family events, for meetings and educational sessions. Luckily, with the help from the Phillips County Community Foundation, we've transformed that whole area into, like I said, it's kind of a meeting room / family area. We've had birthday parties, graduation events, and different things out there. So it's really been beneficial.
Yeah, it's a real nice room in the way they did it and stuff. And we used to get everybody in there and sing and have a real hoedown. But, the way they're using now probably works better because it can work 5-6 days a week instead of just being a Sunday.
If you stay in the assisted living, can you fix your own meals, or can you go? I wouldn't be. If I could go somewhere and eat, that's where I would go. Just come down and meet with eat with the other people.
Yeah. Each of the apartments are equipped with a mini fridge and then a microwave is available.
That's all I need.
Yeah. But you're free to use the kitchen at the assisted living if you so choose to. Yeah. So we have people from time to time, not necessarily meals, but they'll bake a pie or something like that. But yeah, for the most part, everybody just you can have your meals served to you in your room or in the dining room with everybody. So. That's usually the way people go.
One thing I'm really missing though in assisted living, they used to have a bunch of ladies and stuff, and they had these puzzles and jigsaw puzzles, and they'd big ones, and they'd work and get those together, and just great pictures. Then they'd have a frame and a back for it, put it in there. Up on the wall, great.
It was quite the assembly line there for a while. Yeah, that's kind of slowed down a little bit. So
he's always had one. It always seemed like there was always one out there in some stage of completion, or something. I always thought it would be a dirty trick to go by there and take one piece out and take it home.
Tad Feltz, you heard that on
that show. If we're missing a piece, we'll know where to go.
Now you know what I had to put up with for years. He sneaked something out when he was driving home, food-wise, and where'd my piece of chicken go?
What about the finances and so on? How can someone in the assisted living, I know how it worked with the retirement part there, but does like long-term care, will that take care of that? I'm sure each thing is different.
Yeah. So the majority of long-term care insurances will cover assisted living services, and there's a million plans out there, so it just depends on the individual plan, how much it may pay. But other than that, the assisted living, the way it's structured right now is private pay or private insurance. So like the state Medicaid program, which to help out with assisted living would be called their home and community-based services. It hasn't caught up with the times
Sure.
and with the assisted living, and it functionally it doesn't work out.
The
And
government program it does not work.
Yeah. So right now that's kind of where we're at. Like I said, it's the private insurance or private pay right now for assisted living.
And of course, it sounds like someone who still wants an independence, but wants someone to remind him in the morning to take that medicine. Is a good opportunity there. Now, do you have 2-bedroom, or are they all 1-bedroom?
So they're all single-bedroom apartments. They're roughly, I want to say, 470 square feet. They all have their own bathroom, walk-in shower, huge walk-in closet. That's a big shocker for everybody that comes and sees them for the first time.
That's important,
Yeah, definitely. So, and then all the furnishings, like I said, other than the like I said, we provide the mini fridge and microwave, but all the other furnishings come from home. You're free to bring any of your furniture. You're free to hang pictures on the wall. Just make it your own.
Bring some of your home back in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So you have a living room, a bedroom, a kitchen, and a bathroom.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And you can see it all on Sunday.
Yeah.
Come out between 2 and 4. Okay, we hope that people.
Nate will be out there giving personal tours.
Okay.
And we're fortunate we got Nate, because he's from not too far away, and he just does a tremendous job for us.
So I'm going on 10 years. It's hard to believe.
Well,
I think the first part of next year it'll be 10 years. So I came in just shortly after the assisted living was built, the original part. So
we lock him in at night, open up the door, and I feel kind of sorry for him. But if you want to find Nate, go in the door on the east end, where the assisted living is, then make a left-hand turn. You'll see him. He's got a little bitty office, little window, and I kind of feel sorry for him in there. And maybe someday we can pick something real good for him. But he seems to be getting the job done with what he has.
There you go. That's good. Okay.
And he does a really good job for us.
We've been out here. What's your background? Where did you come from originally?
Where was I from originally? Stockton, born and raised.
I thought that's the Stockton name. I probably did. Did I ever do games and you played it? Okay.
So
we were talking about activities, athletic activities, while we're sitting out there waiting to get on your show.
Yeah.
And some of the things that happened. And he wasn't there as fortunate enough to be old like I was, where one time we was down there playing basketball and it snowed like crazy. And of course we have the one school bus. And we had to get out behind and push and get the bus up over that hill. That's a long old deal. But us kids were having fun. But things like that.
Gandanning's a Stockton name. I remember that. We did games there, and it's amazing. Every once in a while I'll come across them. Yeah, you did my games when I was at Logan or whatever.
And I want to add one more thing with Nate. And of course, Chris, she does a very good job too.
Well, I was going to mention Chris.
I've never seen Nate. I've never seen him upset to where you knew that something was wrong.
Well, that's good,
That is when you're dealing
things are going well.
when you're dealing with those people, the older generation and stuff, and the things that they require or need or want and stuff. And he has to find some way to keep everything working good.
Well, he took care of me for years, and going and doing ball games and stuff. He always made sure I got home.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the door unlocked.
Okay. Well, we hope things really go well for you
thanks,
Sunday.
Dad.
And keep going, and we'll see you Sunday.
Sounds good. We appreciate it.
I want to see because down the road, you have to start. It's. I'm not going to say it's inevitable, but down the road you may be out spending some time, a lot of time out there.
Well, thanks for bringing Nate up. Because you talked to me about coming up. He knows what's going on, and he can explain it a lot better than I can, and he keeps the ball rolling. and if he has to get up in a hitch or something like that, he can come talk to us board members for that. But
All right.
Usually he's the one that gets figured out.
All right. Well, again, thank you, and keep up. We're lucky to have the retirement center here.
Yes. Absolutely.
It was, as I said, 5 years with my wife. You could go out, and the staff was always really helpful. with everything I needed. You got a question, they always answered it, you know. And
Have you figured out yet what room you want? Well, we can be in there.
Okay, no, I'll look when I'm out there Sunday. I'll put my name
Come out on Sunday,
okay.
you can scope it out.
Thanks a lot for coming.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, sure. Okay. You can sit there and tell them through. I'm about ready to wrap it up here. Gary Bills and Nate Grandetti with this Sarah. Okay, coming up tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, Phillipsburg will be at Conway Springs. Remember how cold it was at Conway Springs that one time we were there?
It's never, one time, yeah, the other time wasn't too bad. I can remember it was so cold, you couldn't wait to get out of there.
And I told the girl, I said, get that car started. I mean, as soon as the game was over, she was down there.
You and I, it was always dark and stuff when we went down there. I never
Well,
did
we
see
never
a
got to-
town. It was just a football field out there. And of course, he wasn't around to help me after the game. Well, he was. He got to the van, but once the door closed, it was.
Yeah. No, now if there's a place to eat.
Well,
we don't stop.
So Andy, Kenny was telling me yesterday that they've redone their stadium.
Really?
Now they have a press box on the visitor side.
Press
for-
box.
Oh,
That's
yes.
well,
Now we
yeah,
would have gotten to sit inside.
We had to sit.
Now
We
they
had to
do.
sit in the stands, and it was cold. Ooh, very cold. Anyway, just go to My Phillips County online, and then hit the YouTube, and it'll be on there, so you can watch that. Conway Springs is streaming it, right? Okay, so that Saturday morning sports talk, we'll be talking with David King about the Pinkerton, the boy who went to state from Logan. He ran with Phillipsburg cross country during the regular season, and then when he went to postseason, he had to run for Logan, and he went to state. And he'll also come on and talk about the junior high cross country, and then also J.B. Covington, one of his coaches, will come on and talk about a win, we hope, tomorrow night at Conway Springs, and then see what happens with that. He'll be on Saturday morning on Sports Talk, and then it probably won't be as long as usual. We had a 2-hour one last week, but we're going to try to make it over to Kensington for the Veterans Day. We were 2 hours and 45 minutes this morning, so we got pretty good this morning here. So we'll see you.
Don't forget, it's Nate Glendenning. If you need help, don't wait for the legend. PR549.
Anyway, thanks for joining us this morning. Again, thanks for all the sponsors who make it possible, and for everyone who stopped in. And we'll see you next Thursday morning. We'll be talking with more high school students on the play, the history of dating. Also, we plan on having Ken Rogers on and see. He's successful in his election last Tuesday, and we'll work on some other people coming in to see what's going on. That's 2 weeks from today's Thanksgiving. I don't know what we're going to do yet about that, but we'll come up with something. So we'll see you Saturday morning, 9 o'clock at the bakery, and then next Thursday morning right here at 9.